Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Beaver Dam Lake Protection and Rehabilitation District April board meeting. Today is April 8th, 2026. We'd like to have this wrapped up by 8 o'clock if we can. It's currently 7:02 and the heat just turned off just enough time. That's great. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Tonight's meeting is an open meeting in accordance with New York State Public Meeting Open Meetings Law. We are live on Zoom from reserve number 4 in the Beaver Dam Lake Community Building at 557 Shore Drive in New Windsor. This meeting is being recorded to be posted on the Orange County DPW website and through our BDL YouTube account. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Did everybody get a chance on the board to see tonight's agenda?
Yep.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the motion has been adopted. Okay, last meeting was a month ago, March 11th. This is a really busy time of the year. Really busy time of the year. As I've come to learn how things cycle, I think I've been on the board over 4 years now. I was appointed 1 year. Then I went to run for election, and there was an issue with the US mail actually getting my application in to the DPW. And so I was then appointed again. And then I ran. So then now I'm currently in my last year of my 3-year term. So I've been around several board members that have come and gone. I've been around some really capable chairs. I think I have been tapping those from the past when I can, namely Larry Rossini, most recent. And anyway, so I'm Christopher Dunn, the chair, and board member roll call.
Hey, Larry Weinberg, vice chair.
Jason Hughes, secretary.
Sean Scomberg.
Fred Widman.
Sparkle Bassett.
And I would also like to say that former board member Chrissy Woolger has resigned. So there is officially, she is no longer on the board. There is a vacancy. Go ahead, Sparkle.
Just that I'll make a motion to accept Chrissy's resignation.
Oh, so that's something that we don't have to do because the DPW has already accepted it.
Okay.
Yeah, so, and just something else is like, so one of the other board members that does not come typically to meetings unless there's something really important is the commissioner of the DPW, Eric Denega, and there's also Ryan McGuire, the deputy commissioner. They could come to any one of our board meetings. They accepted Chrissy's resignation, and it has been tendered. Okay, so sorry, I didn't, but anyway, last board meeting was March. Just remember BDLboard@gmail.com is the best way to reach us. I was talking about it being such a busy time of the year. You know, boats are going in soon. We have possibilities of paving contract going through to fix the aprons going into some of the reserves. We're talking about restoning the boat launch at 8. We happen to have the person who's here every morning right now. Mr. York is here. He's our maintenance person for the DPW, and he's here every day picking up, making sure it's clean and shipshape for the residents. And it's nice that you're here, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Virginia.
Also, I think we may have another guest coming in a moment. Bit of safety. We kind of mention this every meeting, to please call 911 if there's an emergency, not to call the police or call the fire department directly. Always call 911 and you will be dispatched, or the call will be dispatched accordingly. Hello, Miss. Thank you. All right. Dam update, there's nothing new with the dam. Reserve properties, there's a few things. There was something else did we leave off? I want to say there was something else with the reserve properties. We wanted to go over. Nope, I see it here. Sorry, it's my mistake. I dropped, so I'm ahead of myself. Non-resident, non-permits, not permitted residents, are not allowed on the properties, typically. Now, we're not a police force. If you escort your guests, there's no problem. This is a private community, even though there's no gates, which is kind of hard to wrap your mind around if you're someone who's been living here for 50 years, because it was way different in the past. There was 3 towns, 3 beach associations, and what I understand is a whole lot of fun. I know sometimes when district things like county rules come into play and laws come into play, sometimes folks kind of, they don't maybe like it so much, but just want to say that the board is here to move forward using the county government's law, and local law 8 is the law that dictates how this board moves. So I just wanted to mention that. Any non-emergencies, you can call Cornwall Police Department 534-8100. If you want to call New Windsor Police Department, it is 565-7000. All right. So anybody else want to add anything about the reserves? Because one of the things about, I feel like I'm maybe repeating myself a little bit here, because we have some folks in front of us tonight. And it's great. We want people to come, for a long time. And maybe it was post-COVID because we had hybrid. Seemed to be, we're always doing these meetings on camera, and it's nice to have some folks in the building.
Yeah, we love to see the properties and the reserves being used, but really, again, it's really for residents. You're welcome to bring your escorted guests, but that doesn't mean you can drop off a boatload of people at a reserve and take off. You're really supposed to stay there and ensure that you're there to be sure that rules are followed, and that there's nobody who's doing anything that's really gonna damage the facilities or damage the lake in any way. Again, we also always ask that people have a registration sticker for your vehicles and permits. We provide this service. It's free of charge. Brad Whitman has been spearheading this for about 8 or 9 years. We have revamped the vehicle permit program for those who are concerned about privacy and safety. And now we do offer a non-transferable hanging tag.
Do we have a time when we're going to be doing?
We haven't scheduled any in-person permit events, but number one, you can always access any Beaver Dam Lake email on your resident email address, and hit the hot link at the bottom to print up forms and follow how to apply for a permit. We also have a waterproof box that's on the side of our entrance to the community building at 557 Shore Drive that has the resident permit forms. Very simple to follow, but you do really have to make sure that you comply with everything. And so you don't send your registrations in with proof of residency. We're not blindly going to send you out a tag for your vehicles. So when you use the vehicles, please put your tags up. As you, again, we're not the police force, but we really would hate for you to get an expensive ticket, especially if you're a resident. So it's just a courtesy that we do this, and we do these in-person events on occasion. I'll get together with Fred and Molly and maybe Diane if she's willing to help. And maybe we'll run a couple of in-person events. So I just wanted to talk about that briefly.
Thank you, Larry. So moving on, 2026 reserve improvements. This is kind of a revisit from something discussed about over a year ago. As we just mentioned, the planned estimate for paving for the entrances of reserves 2 and 8. Deputy Commissioner McGuire stated that work should be at least about $6,000 in asphalt. We did budget a combined $9,000 last year for the potential for seal coating the parking lot here and the paving at 2 and 8. And this is just the aprons. This is not the entire parking lot. It's basically to tear up what was done prior, which may have been, from the looks of it, 35 5 years ago, 40 years ago. So there's areas when you go into Reserve 8, there's just potholes and the pavement has been lifted and so it's time for that to be removed and regraded. It also makes the fire trucks and EMS their job in their access in easier. And if you may remember, we did purchase some basic park style gates. Those are just like these 3x3 tube gates that were gonna go across. We were discussing about not locking them, but them being a deterrent for those that do not live here. Those have been held off from being installed until paving is done. So those will be mentioned again once the paving gets done. And it does seem like it's becoming more likely. So currently we have $9,000 already budgeted for paving and seal coating. Seal coating for the parking area and the community building may be needed on a separate job or contract. We're awaiting the DPW's response, but it's only been in the last 7 days that DPW has given us a response on this topic alone. So more to come with that. As mentioned many times, the return to the boat racks being built, that's coming. We're focusing on Reserve 3. Reserve 3 is at the bottom of Maple Drive. The goal there is to get all the boats off the ground, which they're not supposed to be on the ground anyway, so the landscaper can do their job. And then all the boats would be moved to the west side, the opposite side of the reserve, and they would all be off the ground on racks. Those racks will be built on a volunteer basis with wood and hardware that we already own.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't been around the lake in a while due to the winter weather, there is currently a residence being built right next to Reserve number 3. It's
Like a
very
house, an actual,
narrow,
a person's
a
house.
very narrow strip of land that people believe was not buildable, but apparently the permitting has gone through. So we would definitely like to avoid having the boats on that side of the property right next to that new residence. I'm sure that it will be aesthetically better for everybody involved. So that's been our goal for quite some time, but hopefully this season with the building of that new property that, and right across the street as well, it will be nice to get this put to bed.
And I'm also interested on the survey. Because as we all know, surveys and fences aren't always in the right place. And we'll see if the fence that's there is actually in the correct place. So I'm very interested to know who actually owns the fence at the moment.
Yeah.
Because there are some boats tied to it, which is something that's against the rule anyway. So we wanted to tidy it all up, and like Larry said, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. What
Try to correct the grading on it.
and that's yeah, and that's something that we've discussed. Yeah, so at some point we will fix the grading. You know, there's a lot of dips, and it was formerly the boat launch, correct, gentlemen? Right? Now, was it ever New Windsor's boat launch or something, or was it just people ran boats down?
Yeah, just the boat.
It was just there and
Yeah.
people ran boats down it. Yeah. So because of that, there is this like rut kind of wonky. So even the picnic table down there doesn't sit level. So that's something we like to maybe put a little concrete pad down at the end for the table and bring in some soil and get it done right at some point. We're always trying to improve things. As Rick can attest to, we have all the chain link fence parts. We've acquired them. Some of them we've had for quite a long time, and a few that we purchased, the caps and the hardware. So that's something that's gonna take place soon. That's the fence, the chain link fence up at the curb at Reserve 4 right here. It was suggested to kind of talk about the building improvement bid. There currently is there's no official bid for building improvement. It was brought up at least a year ago to go forth with this. This board had, was it 55,000 or 60,000? I'm trying to remember. There was $5,000 something. We actually budgeted. It was 55. It was either 55,000 or 60,000. I'd have to go back and look because nothing has come to me from procurement or the county to actually see where we're headed with this. But at the moment, there's not an officer assigned to this structure yet. What we're speaking about is a full kind of soup to nuts inside, tear the walls out, fix the almost non-existent insulation, attic soffits breathe really heavily. We have moisture issues. Windows need to be replaced, doors should probably be looked at and replaced. Bathrooms could be updated, floors would certainly be updated as well, things like that. And we also discussed the addition of some type of either like a 16 by 20 extended porch would give a nice lakeside appeal, an outdoor place to get the lifeguards out of the sun maybe, and residents to be out of rain. Yeah, we really don't have a dedicated outside of this building. If a thunderstorm was to come rolling through, certainly everybody can come in here, but it would also be nice to have something that's outdoor, like pavilion style. And that's something we would like to add on to this building as well. All right, so trees for tributaries, Jason.
So we got approved for trees for tributaries. We have selected Reserve 8, which is boat launch. Here is, where my mouse go?
So at 180 Lake Road, we're talking about. Right?
180 Lake Road. So there's going to be 2 sections of trees. The yellow is going to be fast growing trees and shrubs, and blue area is going to take a little bit longer to grow, but it's all in the backside of the reserve. The field should remain open, because I know that gets utilized. And it's shooting.
So purpose of, sorry to cut you off, just for people here. So the Trees for Tribs program, its purpose is to
reestablish and maintain shorelines. And it also gives nutrient absorption, prevents erosion, and other habitat benefits for the lake. Ideally, it'd be better in one of the tributaries, but we don't have access to one of the tributaries. I started getting in contact with the gentleman at next to Reserve 5, and he's interested in getting it, so we can work with him together.
Are they now?
Mhm.
That's good news. Okay.
So that is one of the I think it's the primary tributary for the lake.
Yes.
So that
Yeah.
could have some benefit there, but that'd be
Further down. Reserve 7?
5.
There's 5 down by the bridge,
Yeah,
which is
that was just replaced.
roughly, one of the larger ones, but just, well, it's underutilized because it's so closed in. And the access to the lake is pretty shallow. We had a group there trying to clean out 2 Januaries ago, and it's an underutilized reserve. So, but it's not blocking people's view if we were to reforest some of it, so.
Volunteers, we're up to 13 people now. I had 2 people from, I believe, Washingtonville School District to apply, and one of them was our lifeguards, Lucas.
Oh, cool. Oh, maybe we can get the others too. Because 4 of them are from Washingtonville. They're just 2 of them are at college right now. So, is there any date projected?
May 31st.
Oh, that's
May
when it's happening.
31st, 10 a.m.
Okay.
What you were saying, April and May, I'll be available.
Yeah, May 31st.
I think that's
Yeah.
the yard sale too.
I will be away.
So that's a week after the Memorial Day weekend. It sounds
Yeah.
like, right?
It's not finalized, but I think that's going to be the yard sale.
We're gonna try to get everybody available for that. That's a good. That's a,
Well, that's shaping.
head out to South Carolina.
well, you don't have to apologize, Frederick. I don't know when I started calling you Frederick, but I think I just started.
I've been called worse.
So you've got the volunteers, Jason, but how can people get involved in supporting this whole program? What are you expecting from the volunteers who will show up, just so everybody has a baseline idea about what they might be getting?
So the DC is also providing support. They're probably going to bring people as well. They're gonna bring additional shovels as well. So they'll bring up 10 shovels and things to help dig with the holes. Cool. So depending on the number of volunteers we have, we might need people to bring their own shovels and picks if necessary, but you will be paired up with somebody, so you're not just digging holes the whole time. You can switch off with somebody. Rest.
Jason, are we assuming that we're not going to need any additional topsoil or anything, that it'll just be out and in?
Most likely mulch if
So the hole itself should be self-existing. In other words, once you dig the holes, you shouldn't need more soil.
Not from what they recommended.
Okay.
And these are saplings.
Yeah,
Are they doing those tree guard tubes?
yeah. The
So are they all gonna be
tubes-
like just
Tubes and
tubes?
stakes are being included.
Rick needs to know what he's gonna be.
Well, there's a heavy deer population, the way it was.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that this is protectant
Yeah.
against the
Yeah.
defending the young.
Mhm. If we could fence them in, they'd recommend that, but I didn't agree to that, but that could be an option to protect it from deer.
Yeah, and just to seed the discussion a little bit, there was a number that we weren't necessarily looking for a number. This is an organization that wants to put as many trees down as possible, correct?
Mhm.
Like, so, but they have a magic number that they will accept as a minimum to then come help and actually put them in the ground. So we seem to have been we were sitting on 75 and then the number was 100. If we were to accept 25 more, then they would come.
And it would have additional step for like 25 more trees. It seems like a no-brainer.
Do they give anything about like, life expectancy or, like how many?
Success rate?
Yeah, mortality rate, yeah. Lack of a better term, yeah. Success rate. Yeah, I'm just curious, out of 100, how many do they expect to actually take? Cause you know, you're not gonna, if we get all 100, that's absolutely,
Mhm.
that'd be amazing, right?
We don't know the trees yet.
And we don't,
We have a short list of potential trees.
Right.
and these are native trees, correct? That's the whole idea.
Native trees,
Two.
where's my thing? Trees, red maple, silver maple, river birch, sycamore, shrub, speckled adder, red osier dogwood, silky dogwood, black cherry, no, chokeberry, sandbar willows, tree, serviceberry, flowering dogwood, swamp white oak, basswood, red oak, shrubs, witch hazel, winterberry, bayberry, arrowwood, high bush cranberry, nine bark, and Virginia rose.
So the deer are gonna love those last 8 or 9, very, 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 yeah.
And
But
they
that's
suggested gumball trees, which I told them, no gumball trees, they make a huge mess,
Oh, they leave like a
like fall
spiky,
trops
yeah.
on the ground.
The ones that leave the spiky balls?
Yeah.
That's a sycamore.
Oh, yeah? I was under the impression
But
there was a
they're-
few of those
And
out there.
gumballs do the same.
Okay. I don't know a gumball tree, so.
Yeah, I lived in Maryland,
Well,
or
kookaburra
right there, and make
I was kind of waiting for some joke about. Okay, is there anything more with trees for trips? So we're talking about May 31st at what time?
Diane Metzger says gumball trees do the same as sycamores.
There we go,
So what time are you thinking, Jason? Is it like noon, you think?
10
10 AM.
10 a.m.
I'm sure we'll get, as we get closer to the date, we'll have more information.
They're coming at 9 to do their setup, and then they can just start at 10.
Reserve. dates. Okay, all
You
right,
might wanna, I don't know, you might wanna look at the plants. Some of them, like the roses are pretty difficult to ever work with. I don't know.
It depends if we get any.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So we don't know ahead of time what
No.
we'll get.
It's based all on availability.
yeah, and
We're
this
one of the
costs
smaller.
zero,
sites.
Yeah.
so let's everybody remember that this is completely free, so we're kind of getting what they are giving us. And it fits within a certain scheme and it may work out, some of it may not. But, and we're not taking away anybody's fishing spots, I mean, it's still like, you know,
Yeah, so plenty.
there's still gonna be room to get in there. There's a lot of foot traffic, as Rick could attest to, that goes in there and sometimes unfortunately leaves fishing line and such.
And they're constantly picking them up.
Already, there's the line been there every day.
You know what gets me? Those bait cups, the bait cups.
Oh, yeah.
There's a trash can there,
Mhm.
styrofoam bait cups.
Styrofoam.
Put them in the trash can.
And the lid is someplace else.
And the lid is
Ah,
across the
ah,
lake. It's in his yard. Yeah, yeah. All right, so moving on to the 5th section of the, thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. And by the way, Jason has been like, this has been, so I think maybe we started even talking about this a year ago. At least you brought it up. I think that
At last year's.
we weren't certain.
Nice
Nice Fola, right? We weren't certain if we were a fit or
When I
they
talked
weren't.
to AJ.
Yeah, and then it was like, so then you got them to come back after, I guess, what we won the lottery? Cause you said they pick places.
Yeah, so I guess maybe not many people applied for this round,
Yeah.
so we were able to get in because we were one of the smaller locations, so we weren't completely on their priority list,
Mhm.
but we were able to get it in.
Yeah, so like a local example of trees for tribs, it seems to be, I don't know this, maybe someone else in the room would know. Right outside of Washingtonville Middle School across the street, that new parking lot, it seems to be, that's, if you want an example of what it's gonna look like at Reserve 8, I think go there, right? Is that, because it's along the Moodna. So I don't know if that is a trees for trip situation, but there's a whole lot of saplings, easily like 100 of them, all lined up at the backside of that parking lot between the Moodna. So I'm curious if that
They
is.
would
a
have it
trees for-
listed on their website.
Yeah, and I work down in Yonkers and I've seen a couple examples.
You know, I was wondering what those were. I saw the stakes down there.
Yeah, there's trees in those tubes.
Yeah,
And so, and they have little holes and they get their oxygen there and then eventually they pop through.
yeah.
Yeah. It's, all right, moving on, official board communications, 2 emails, another one Jason had to do with on March 20th. About a dead tree that you noticed.
Yeah, Reserve 2 had a dead tree along it and I notified them that it should be cut down. I haven't heard back from them when the date.
It's like a trunk, right? It's like a long dead kind of tree, right?
Yeah.
It's not big
It's-
gargantuan like the one
It's
last
got
one.
woodpecker holes in it dead.
Mhm.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
one with the big opening.
And it's along a fence.
Yeah,
it's-
leaning over.
It's
To a private.
The house next to mine,
Yeah,
it's against
yeah.
their fence, yeah.
So, and Brian said, McGuire said that have they told you they've come yet? No,
No.
all right, that's something I have to follow
Have
up.
them, look at that big tree to the left on too also, because that one limb, one day it's gonna snap.
Yeah,
Right
there's,
down on
there's
that
another
limb.
limb.
I mean, that one section is way out there.
So I was curious, when we had the other one taken down, that was in bad shape, Lou Casino Junior was here, he was there on site. And we had mentioned the other tree, but he wasn't told by the DPW to also do that tree, so he couldn't touch it. So now that you're saying that, that's something to take
That
a
might,
look.
you know, it should be windy if people are walking under it, it's huge.
Is it over the boats or is it more of
It's
the?
over the field, but it's like.
It's the big one that's sprawling.
Right, that's the one.
Got it.
There, I'm sticking at, but the one, that one limb that sticks way out, pointing in towards the middle of the field, that's really low. It's gonna
Okay.
snap. Sooner or later it's gonna break off.
All right. All right, so we'll give them a call and see if they can come take a look at that one as well, when they show up. All right, so thank you for doing that, Jason. On the 25th of April, a few days ago, this is kind of the big part of the meeting tonight. The DPW gave a response, so what we're speaking about, the board presented an opposition, also former board member, Larry Rossini also presented a opposition to the SPDES permit, the new SPDES permit at Brittany Terrace. They have every year, every 5 years, they get a new permit, they apply for a new permit. This was the time, we opposed it for several reasons. We actually can take what we sent in. We did read this off. I read this at the last meeting. We could possibly maybe put that out. It was something I made a note to do and I did not do. I wanted to put out to the community that letter. So maybe we can have something. So this is me thinking out loud. Go ahead. So I'd like to tell the community about this
A
more.
minor issue, I
Yeah.
typo, I think you meant, March 25th, 2000.
I did. I put April. You're right. And I even said it, didn't I? Thanks. You're right, on March 25th. Can't be April 25th. So yes, on March 25th. So thank you. So in response to the submission that we put to the sent to the DPW on February 25th, this is the underlying decision. So DEC, this is the response that we got back after Lawrence and the board's opposition to the SPDES permit. The DEC has taken all substantive comments received into consideration for this permit renewal, and no condition of the permit have changed. However, as described in the responses included in the following pages, DEC made a final decision to issue the permit renewal for a 1-year term. So I take that as it's a bit of a probation. Instead of being a 5-year license, it's a 1 year. Now, there are comments and they decided to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, was it 6? They took 6 comments. I think 3 or 4 of them were ours and 2 of them I think were Mr. Rossini's. And they categorized these comments as being substantive comments, and then they gave a verbal response to each one. I'm not going to read each one because basically, if I read comment 4 and response 4, it also ends with also see the response to comment 3. So their answer in some of these are like, please see above, please see above, please. So, and I'll read this and then we'll discuss. I'll give the board a chance and everyone in the room to digest. So the comment was, we ask you to not only deny BT Incorporated, that's Brittany Terrace, a new SPDES permit for Brittany Terrace. We urge the New York State DEC to perform a serious audit of these facilities in a useful manner to allow stakeholders to work with local government in order to connect Brittany Terrace to the New Windsor sewer system under a brand new sewer district. Town of New Windsor did preliminary study in the 1980s for 3,500 feet of pipe, 3,500 foot pipe connection, and creating a sewer district would make the community eligible for potential state federal funding. Now, understand this was the letter sent to them. So if there's any inaccuracies in it, this was the board's response based on evidence. Response based upon DEC's review, DEC has determined that the administrative renewal for the SPDES permit meets the applicable standards and criteria for permit issuance. So they pretty much just said, no, we're going to give it to you. We give it to them anyway, that it does meet the standards. Now, the full response is that response number 4, DEC recently inspected the facility and issued a notice of violation. However, DEC is not exercising its discretion to deny the permit renewal. DEC will continue to take appropriate enforcement action to ensure that violations are addressed and the facility operates in accordance with its SPDES permit, which at this time is renewed for a 1-year term. And then it says, see also response to comment 3. Comment 3, this action is an administrative renewal of the existing SPDES permit. Therefore, the reevaluation of the discharge location is outside the scope of administrative renewal review. Based upon DEC's review, DEC has determined that the administrative renewal of the SPDES permit meets the applicable standards and criteria for permit issuance. So there's been no other communications other than this. The way, and I actually I need to talk to Mr. Rossini and see what his take is, of course, because he is on this as well, and they respond to his comments as well. It seems to be that DEC is making a bit of a promise to go back and check the facility and work with the folks. Now, I don't want to speak out of turn. There may be some folks in the room that know a bit more about Brittany Terrace. And it is a co-op situation, I believe. So it's not a sole private owner that is a developer that has maybe the equity or the money to do this and put down pipe, even if they wanted to. So can the community afford it as a whole? Probably not. It's a 55 plus, sort of a retirement community. So with that, I've had conversations, other folks in this room have had conversations with Mr. Bridetti, of course, because New Windsor Sewer is the sewer that would be connected. And he basically said straight out, he's open to it. A lot has to happen. Obviously, the pipe needs to exist because there is a main near Mecca Drive, and that's where this pipe would go. It would be cut straight through the woods, under the rail bed, through the forest, down the back. So this is not a easy fix. This isn't like digging up Shore Drive and doing an I&I. This is like a full-blown like build of a sewer system. So with that, this was just a report back to DEC's response. Any board members have any take?
It's
Yeah, go
my
ahead, Sparkle.
understanding that Brittany Terrace is one of our primary polluters for the feed to the lake, right?
Correct. Based solely on our 3 months, not 3 years, 3 months of taking tests. But there was evidence leading to that as to why we wanted to test there and make the two sites test sites. One of them was right on station, and then the other one was on shore by Reserve 6. So basically, we mentioned this at a prior meeting, maybe last meeting, that we were testing right outside their affluent pond, on the outside, not on their land, on the other side of the street as it goes under station. And then how does it change? How do the numbers change when it gets to us? And the numbers were very small, maybe a 5%, 10% reduction.
Right.
Basically, the forest and the bogs and the wetlands filtered it a little bit, but during a wet rain, a heavy rain event, pretty much everything is just flowing straight in at, it was like 800% beyond healthy. So,
Question.
go ahead.
Is it my understanding that they are looking to expand Brittany Terrace
Yeah.
and to use the existing SPDES permit to justify that expansion?
Do you know anything about that, Virginia? So the one thing, do you, go ahead.
Just that they certainly have been expanding it already.
Weren't we told that there was, originally there were allowed up to a 200 home, on their site plans?
And I think they're at 80 or 90 or something.
But they have the ability to expand, whether or not they have the plans to
So
expand.
it's already been approved for the
From
existing.
way back.
Way back.
Okay.
And basically, from what I understand, and Mr. Ricini had mentioned this in the room that night when we got together about 2 months ago, that Brittany Terrace has been around. I don't know when the first house was put down or they were trailers, right, originally?
Yeah.
So there's still trailers
Yeah.
there. Some have been probably worked on, renovated, and then some have been completely pulled out, and I believe other structures have been put on those foundations.
That's bad.
Yeah, so, but they have this expansion ability, so that means anybody that does want to replace their home, they could do it with a larger home. Does that mean it has another bedroom or people?
They can develop new lots, but their permit limits them to 10,000 gallons a day.
Yeah,
But who's measuring? There's not even a flow monitor.
well, and I don't think it's a big stretch that with this violation, I mean, part of the record keeping of Mr. Rossini for the amount of time is that they were exceeding their
Every-
flow constantly. In fact, to the point where some of it was they entered data that was erroneously a mistake, like off by decimal points to where
100,000 gallons.
185,000 gallons. So obviously
Would have been
it's way beyond.
85, you know?
But nobody noticed. No one noticed. That's the point. So because they have to report on themselves. They keep their own logbooks. They do their own inspection. They were even writing down numbers that should have raised heads and no one noticed.
And dates that
Reporting on
didn't
dates
exist.
that didn't exist.
Or with dates that were,
February 29th.
yeah. So they've gotten everyone's attention at this point. And so.
They could certainly afford outside monitoring,
Mhm.
to at least get reasonable data.
I mean, I think we all agree, we look at it as we want to help them
Yeah.
because it also helps this community and this lake. So go ahead, Jason.
Would GEI and their the grant capabilities
Yeah.
be in the scope to help them because it helps us?
Absolutely, absolutely. So GEI, the current company we've been working with, for lake and freshwater management, they were the ones that actually, when we had AJ in here 2 years ago for a presentation, even when AJ was working for us with Hillary 5 and 6 years ago, and even pre-dam tear out and rebuild, they knew the area's tributaries. They knew the system, the hydraulic system around here. And they knew the issues that Beaver Dam Lake has. So, yes, that's something that AJ has been talking about for a long time, and this was the presentation that was brought to the DPW well over a year ago for why we want to continue to budget. Because some people say, well, what are you going to do with this testing? What's the money for? Well, the money is to continue to get data to substantiate the need to then ask for the grants. And the grants are very large. Some of them are DEC, some of them, there's just one I had spoken to AJ the other day, that there's the Hudson River estuary something, I can't remember, council or something. And they care very much about the Moodna watershed. They care what Stewart does to us, does to every stream around here, because it all goes into the Moodna, all goes into the Hudson, so they very much care. And they have a lot of money ready to give for projects. We have to do this all ourselves. So once we get it going, we do need somebody who's educated about it that can get it going. It's been said many times, well, don't you have a grant writer?
The grant writer we had in the past was basically, it was Larry with the help of somebody from the county. Larry confided in me that there was a woman named Diana that helped him write up the grant proposal, that actually did most of the work on that. Well, Larry gave him ideas and
Right.
this and that, but she actually drew up the grant. I don't think that person exists anymore
Well,
at the county.
And the grant you're speaking of would actually be a very small grant as
Small.
compared to what we're speaking of. We're
It's
talking about getting
small.
millions.
Yeah.
So, because this is not going to ever change, nothing is going to change around here unless it's a full-on attack.
You would have
Pretty
to
much.
hire a professional grant writer for something like this.
Yeah, but it's good to know now that the commissioner and deputy commissioner have been behind the idea, but they have their own highways and bridges to take care of. So Beaver Dam is sort of on its own. And we've all been working hard to put the pieces together. It's taking a very long time to try to do this. While I've been chair, I've been the poor person pretty much talking to people like James Gorman, who is our applicator, that where we get our treatments. That's the Pond and Lake connection.
Right.
Those AJ and James frequently speak to each other because they know each other from working in other counties and Connecticut. And you know, and I'll talk about the fish kills in a moment, or in a little bit, because we've been discussing, put our heads together about that. So there's been a lot of discussion over the years as to where we can go with this. Senator Scoofus's office, I've been suggested to reach out to Senator Ryan's office. Excuse me?
Congressman Ryan.
Congressman Ryan, sorry, Congressman Ryan. And so there are public servants that want to know more. I think it makes sense to to tell them what we need and see if they can help us as well. We're an advisory board. We're an advisory board. We all have our own lives. We all have our own, this is a volunteer situation here. So, but we want to see the lake community where we live, improve. And, I think we're in a position where we have a chance. We're still have a long way to go, but, it would be nice to start really seeing some dollars come in at some point. But anyway, with that, so I think what we'll do is we will table further discussions on this if any DEC response comes in. But what I would like to do is put out a board email about the stance with Brittany Terrace and then the DEC's response. With that, on to lake health treatments. The DEC, New York State DEC, CSLAP asked for lake volunteers to do oxygen sensor heat map testing. Jason, you want to continue on that? Or?
Yeah, it's a new program that they're rolling out. So they had a finite amount of sensors that they were going to give out.
So they have the equipment they're going to give you.
Yeah,
Okay.
They have a limited supply.
they have a limited supply, so they got prioritized to the Class A lakes, which are the drinkable water. So eventually,
No.
we will get our own equipment because they want everything to be standardized and
Right.
have
So,
oxygen testing as part of the CSLAB
so
testing.
they will not accept our data as part of the program?
I don't believe so.
And they're going to all the A lakes first?
Yeah, because I
Then they're
mentioned
gonna
that
go to
we
the B
have,
lakes,
we
like
just
that?
started doing this testing last year.
Right.
Is there a way we can get on it? They said they'd look into it, but
DL.
You know, it'd be a way if we could, great way to calibrate our unit to theirs, if they were with a standard
yeah,
solution.
they also require calibrating every single time, and we
Yeah.
also need to get some deionized water to calibrate ours.
Well, we can get the.
Just bubble air.
One way or another.
You bubble air through water and for like 5 minutes. And that's how you calibrate the meter.
You make it sound so simple. No, I'm kidding.
It's gotta be.
And there's a lot of folks here that would know.
But DO and turbidity are like critical. And I was really surprised on the CSLAP meeting to hear that everybody's not doing that because they're quick, they're easy tests to do. And they give you a good handle, that pH and temperature. I know you guys.
On-site testing, they do that.
Yeah,
like-
it didn't
But
take
you
us
can
too
look at
long
it
to
and
do,
see
and we were
what's
doing
going
2 sites.
Right.
But we also found that there's no oxygen below 2 feet of 2 feet of depth.
This lake's pretty bad when you
It
get
is.
into summer, yeah.
And you might get a spike if there's an algae bloom.
Or if there's a 40-mile-an-hour wind, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You were talking.
Look, when it's windy, you're not gonna see an algae bloom on this lake.
Right.
As soon as it stops and it's still perfectly clear, you're gonna have an algae bloom on this lake, guaranteed.
Right, because the wind itself forces itself upon the water, churning it up, and then you get oxygen in the water column. Which is the reverse of what happens, why the fish are dying when you have a sheet of ice over the lake for 2 months. So what we're seeing right now with, we're probably in a couple hundred small fish that have been seen dead. We are not alone. James Gorman, like I said a moment ago, has said there's at least 40 other ponds and lakes in the tri-state area that are going through the exact same thing. So this has nothing to do with chemicals or poison or anything like that. This is purely lack of oxygen.
Been a
It's
long
cold.
time since we've experienced winter freeze like we did this year.
Correct, yeah. I mean, every single year, I'm on the shore, so every single year I see a couple dead fish, not dozens or 100. So Rick, let me know, how many did you see today?
Lot, probably,
But
Over 20,
Yeah.
over 30?
also on Reserve One, just on the other side of the reeds over by Larry's house.
Yeah.
Lots of, and there's even like probably 1-2 pound bass.
Everything blows there.
Yeah, and that's the thing, we keep seeing them conglomerate after the windy days. So the original, so a lot of folks that maybe at home, and you probably saw this on social media, one of the neighbors of mine down the street made a post, I found 75 plus dead fish, and everybody, so, and then I was talking to her, my son plays with her son, I went up there, I spoke to her, she took photos and videos. And she was nice enough to go scoop them and put them in a bucket. She did call DEC. DEC did come. DEC did take the fish. They've had no reply with the fish. I don't know if they did a cryptopsy or a lab test with them, but they did say that this has been happening.
can I make a
Everywhere.
comment on this?
Yep.
Based on what Jason said and was said of the group here, that when you get a freeze, the thickness that we had this year, the fish tend to go deep. To go deep
that's-
to the warmer water.
Great
And what we've just said is there is no oxygen.
There's
down
nothing there. They're going into the.
So
blood.
they're going,
Yeah.
basically committing suicide by going after warmer water.
Yep.
And that's the characteristic of this lake. And it's not due to chemicals, it's not due to anything except the fact that this used to be farmland. It is full of nutrient. There is nutrient coming in on the tributaries. And when the lake is frozen, it's all just sitting there. And there's no oxygen below 1.5 feet, 2 feet of water. If there's that in the wintertime, we don't know. So that's the reason you have the dead fish.
Thank you. Yeah, and our median depth for, I think it's like 75% of the lake is only 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
You know, you can't really count the deep 28, 30s at the dam because that's
Deepest
just the
part is
dam.
27
You don't
feet.
really even see plants after a foot deep anyways, too.
Yeah.
So they're the ones also producing oxygen, because it's too dark.
Northeast Aquatics once said 18 inches, something like that, before you're not gonna see anything.
Okay, because the second depth, it's a meter at best.
On a good year, we've had 2 meters.
It was this year. We had one of our best ones for
Yeah,
like a
generally
day.
early in the season.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some good, it's usually pretty good up through like June and then.
Yep.
All right, so I think that covers that section, right? All right, moving on. We covered the winter kill. We just spoke about all that, Jamie. Okay, so we're obviously slap. Lake testing, Ryan McGuire provided a draft for the RFP for lake management. Basically, he just sent a note saying that he's attaching a draft RFP for the lake management services. This has been revised to allow the board latitude on the actual scope, timeline, and costs that can be anticipated from the various consultants. I have also revised the scope to allow other lake management work that may be encountered during the term, as well as the ability to add scope to support grant applications. So we just spoke about that. This is the email from just 2 days ago, Ryan. So this is in the works at the moment. It's a draft RFP. It's a bid request. This is also Ryan, Mr. McGuire stating this. This has bounced around for a while. When I say a while, I mean at least a year. While the change in our procurement and legal staff, but I feel that the time invested has made the end result that much better. I made a push to get this completed before your board meeting tomorrow. Please let me know if you have any concerns or suggestions. It looks good. We'll submit this for procurement review and publication. So anyway, I just want to say we're gonna table further discussion on that to the next meeting. Because it's really just in pieces. There's nothing really to give more about it. All right, I think all the administrative stuff is done. Community events, Larry,
All right.
the fun stuff, no? Oh, Jason has something, so.
I skipped over that the 2025 CSLAP reports are completed. They're on the NICEFOLA website. Then there's a request to update the county's website that hasn't been updated yet. 10-decade trends are remaining all the same.
All of
Salinity,
New York State, like the whole,
no, for our lake,
just us.
our decade trends are consistent. But the salinity is actually on a downward trend, so the towns and residents are using less salt to deal with the ice.
And if you recall, the fact that these values are indicative of last year's salt application. So, because the testing is from June to September. So I'm curious to see what this year is gonna give. Because of the amount of salt that's had to be applied this year.
Yeah, 24 was a light winter.
Yeah.
Past couple ones, I feel like have been a light winter.
We'll have this insane 3 weeks. Like last year, we had that absolutely insane, like 3-4 weeks, like early January.
Right.
Then it was like, wasn't so bad. Did we ever get, because you remember the DEC wanted to come on a special project for 4th of July?
That's a good point.
They wanted to know about metals from fireworks.
They wanted-
shot,
yeah.
like, did it?
Oh, that.
We didn't get selected.
No.
No, okay, I was always curious about that, not that I think like it's a, oh boy, the water
Results
so
were, I
bad.
think
'cause
they
fireworks.
sent out that it was inconclusive.
Yeah, they wanted to do a special, I guess like survey
You
and
find out about a
test
plastic shell. I'm still finding.
They wanted to
plastic
see
shells
if there
from
was any-
fireworks.
fallout from massive fireworks being shot over water bodies.
I would
So-
not consider those massive.
No,
Yeah, we don't
no.
know.
And I think it's mostly like, because there's evidence that there's problems in the next 24 hours and then it kind of goes away. So it may cause waters, problem for the fish and such. But that's all I know. So. You have something?
It can wait.
Okay. I felt it. I felt it.
Jump in.
All right, community events, part 8.
Okay, community events. So just to reiterate, because there are many people who may not really buy into the whole community events thing, and there are a massive amount of people that do. So we have this teetering, this seesaw that we go through because we have a hard time getting the word out there to people about the events that we're going to do. Not all the events are board events, they're community events. The board, we facilitate by giving access to the building, ensuring that all of our rules and regulations are followed so that we're in compliance with the local law 8 and all the other things that we have to be sure of, like no alcohol on premises and all those things. So we do have events here and community. So the reason that I mention this is some people will say, why are you doing all of these events? But I hear
Is
from
there anybody saying that?
I hear from hundreds of people that want these events. Maybe they don't join in, maybe they don't get involved, maybe they don't show up, but they talk about the community spirit and what we've got going on here. So I only wanted to start off with that because I invest a huge amount of time and energy as a volunteer to make sure that these things continue. I don't have a problem doing that, but I also don't want people to say, why do they continue to use the building for A, B, and C? Because a lot of residents want it. It is the way it is.
In legal law 8, it says that it's for the use of the community, residents.
Right, so, we're bound by certain rules and regulations, but the idea is as a board member here, I make sure that I'm able to facilitate these events, because without the facilitating, these events can't take place. Yes,
One thing that needs to be addressed is that in no instances or in no occurrences has any community event taken away from the duties of the board as far as the use of the lake, the protection of the lake. All of these things are basically board approved and run by volunteers. With Larry's help a lot of times, and some other board members may step in at times to help out somewhat. But at no time does it take away from any of the duties of the board to protect the lake.
and it's at no cost.
Right.
Because we operate based on all donations. We don't get massive donations, but we don't spend massive amounts of money on expensive
Sure.
stuff. There are a lot of generous people who make these things happen. So before I was just to cover things, I only wanted to say I get a huge amount of thank yous and a huge amount of people who really appreciate what has happened and the evolution of our community and community values. So we had a really successful Easter event. Our normal team that have been doing these events, they didn't do this event. Maybe they're backing off a little bit because they've been doing it for such a long time and they want to see new blood inoculated into the whole equation. So we did have new people step up, and Sonia, Christy Olson, and Eve, they all volunteered a lot of time and energy and did a fantastic job on the Easter event. We easily had 80 people come. And when I say 80 people, I mean 50 anxious and happy kids, many families who just loved what was done here. And at no cost to Beaver Dam Lake, other than a couple of watts of light bulbs and maybe, a few hours of using the building. So thank you to the volunteers. If anybody is interested in doing events, again, I'm willing to facilitate, but you have to put the plan together. I'll work with you to be sure that we're following all the rules and regulations. We still have a book club that runs here every third Thursday. Sometimes it's held at a private home because the group is small and they'd rather be in an intimate setting. Sometimes it's held here at the community building. It's approximately 1.5 to 2 hours. There's a book that's read and a nice discussion that's had regarding that book. A great bonding event for community, and it brings people together that you might have not normally got a chance to meet. Earth Day cleanup. Now, currently, I was on the fence about the Earth Day thing because we just had a giant event for Easter, and I just go around the community and I see all the blowover and the trash from the winter thaw, and it drives me crazy. I'm sure it drives a lot of other people crazy, but I'm the guy that's going to do something about it. So when there's a problem, if I can help to solve it, I'd love to get some community involved in doing a pick like we did last year. The Cub Scouts, Jason Silver and Troop 4028. That's the Cub Scouts came with about 20 scouts and a bunch of adults, and we scoured the neighborhood. I had about 10 other resident volunteers. We went around with garbage bags. We got 15 bags of trash off of our streets. We put them at the reserves, and the highway sanitation departments for Cornwall and New Windsor came by and graciously picked them up. We were left, really feeling great about that event. So I know it's short notice, but we're looking at April 15th. That's next Wednesday evening. Jason has got his crew together with the Cub Scouts. They're willing to come volunteer their time to come and help us. We're going to go to reserve number 8. That's on the lake side on Lake Road. It's the main boat launch. That's where we're going to congregate. That's not where all the trash is. So we'd like to have some other adults, because these are kids and you can't just set them off on their own. We'd love to have some residents. who are willing to spend an hour, 2 hours, just go around with a picker and go through your general area. If you don't want to make it out to a reserve and be part of the event, that's completely up to you, but you can spend that time on your own in your own time frame, not on a Wednesday, and just go around and pick up your trash or pick up stuff that's blown out of people's recycling bins. We just can't stand it, and we don't want this trash to end up in the lake, which is where it blows around to.
And it does, everything goes. in the
Oh,
lake.
it's constant, it's constant. So that's April 15th. We would like people to come from 6 to 7:30. And again, it's all volunteer, but the Cub Scouts are volunteering their time. So we would love for a bunch of people who live here to care enough to come out and be part of this. I'll put up a few sandwich boards around the community briefly. I know some people don't love the sandwich boards, but we need a way to communicate to folks. At some point, I really want to have a discussion with the board and maybe get some feedback from some of the people on the email list. Is it fair to use the Beaver Dam Lake email list to get non-Beaver Dam Lake board events and things out there? We're on the fence here with this. It's very hard. We have an Easter event, and I didn't have anything else planned coming up for that time. So do I go out and, survey the board and access the email and send an email out to everybody? But it's not a board event. So I didn't do it, but we don't want to run a great event and have nobody show up because nobody knows about it. Right?
Can I stop you?
Yes.
You can most certainly use the email. If you had asked.
Yeah,
that
no,
would've been done.
I know.
Because I was trying to see if you were like, is it okay by the law? And I'm like, well, you could ask the commissioner, but the current, like, the chair makes the decisions based on, like, the first line of, like, is something admissible?
Right.
We have used the email before, like, do we need to tell people that the fire department's
Right,
coming
right.
ever? No, we don't. It makes sense to do that. So something like this, it's not safety, but
Right.
I don't see why we
Yeah,
can't.
in general, anytime that I send out something that has to do with an event, I always try to tag that on with something that's very relevant to be emailed to the
Gotcha.
residents. So I never have that conflict where somebody says, why are you sending me an email about Easter egg hunts?
So why don't we do this? Why don't we add this to when we send out our monthly email for this meeting? Make that part of it.
Sure,
If because I'm hearing that you don't want to send out like too many communications and then it gets watered down and people like don't even look at them, they ignore them. So if we're getting like one solid one every month, that could be part of it.
Yeah,
Maybe
just
I'm
like
just-
if last minute we come up with an event and it's approved and it meets everything and we want to get it done. The only way I can get out to people is through our residence page, which is on Facebook and it's not part of the board, or sandwich boards. Otherwise, we're out. So,
Yeah.
so for Easter, we're making giant plans. I mean, the amount of candy and stuff was massive. Thank goodness we had a great turnout.
We need more children.
Yeah, but how do we
You
get
guys
the
do
word out
much.
there? And I'd still love to tag on with Sean to get something where we can have either some kind of website or some way to get the words out there.
You could go through the school, but then that's dangerous. Then you may have 1,000 people show up.
Yeah.
But
Barbara?
I just, I don't know of any other cohesive group that communicates with our community. And since it does need to be open to all the community people, I don't know any other way to tell them about events and to really say that we're open if we're not communicating.
Yeah, I know we're allowed to send out newsletter once or twice a year, but I mean, I don't want to waste a mailing out.
yeah, we have mailing budget, we could do flyers, those other, we want to put up these kiosk signs, if we have posted information that is at certain reserves, 365, 24/7. And then we tell people to go check the boards. It's
Yeah.
been updated. Larry updated the
Yeah.
boards.
That would be great if we could get that done with the volunteers who wanted to put up a few of those kiosks.
That
would
should
at least
happen
be a
this year.
Centralized location where people can go and check to see what's happening. Again, I'm happy to make the effort and energy. It's just very nerve-wracking when you put together legit. I mean, I can't tell you how much stuff we had here. We had a good turnout, but it had 10 people come, it would have been really not a good situation. All right, I'll move on. Okay, so just again, we were talking about doing the cleanup and doing an Earth Day cleanup, just because we're gonna get into board member comments in a moment. I just say it's spring cleanup time, folks. Please be sure to keep leaves out of the lake, keep your debris out of the lake, instruct your landscapers and people, if you're hiring them, that they shouldn't be blowing material into the lake, to avoid that at all costs, because that helps to keep the lake nutrients at the lowest possible level. On another thing that I won't call community events, but my final thing to wrap up with, our town supervisor, Bedetti, he has told me that they are working on putting in a couple of parking spaces in the Chestnut Avenue Park. So that's going to be inside the Chestnut Avenue Park. We've been looking for something to happen over there for many, many years. It is a town park in New Windsor. Supervisor Bedetti is taking action on that. That will be happening soon. They have a tree guy who is going to come out and start clearing a little bit of the area in the entrance so that they could put some parking spots in there to make that accessible, with hopes in the future to have pickleball courts. So that is something that I really want to bring
Oh, you
forward.
heard pickleball court?
I've been talking to him and they're really hot on the pickleball courts, and a lot of
He's
people.
trying to keep up with Washingtonville, I think. He was on our meeting last time, so yeah, he mentioned that. That's mentioned that he was gonna clear the trees.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
All right, so again, get to me. You can email me. You can email me through the board. I'm more than happy to take private messages through Facebook. Again, I'm an open book. I'm just happy to support the community and have this great sense of, neighborly love, if we can call it that. All right, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, so thank you, Larry. Look, we didn't sense your effort at all. We don't get it. It's right over our head. Larry, you're a treasure. We're not gonna deny it. But you gotta slow down for your own health.
Thank you.
You need some sleep a little bit.
Yeah.
No, we all, spring is just rough. Everything wakes up and it feels like everything's happened at the same time. I blew past, sorry, I'm cutting everybody off. I blew past something that was something we had to get done. So if Jason can put this up. We need to vote very quickly on the salary scale for the lifeguards. We voted on, we didn't vote, we voted to freeze last year. So the base salary, the way it works is a first year guard is $18 an hour. We've priced it, to be competitive, to keep guards over
Retention.
Yes, because we struggled for a couple years ago, once our guards aged out. We have a great core of guards, but now they're getting into college age. And what's gonna happen this year is all 5 of them are all gonna go away like around August 15th or 20th. So we're actually looking for, and I have already contacted these folks because I head up the beach administration. To try to get 1 or 2 more, that could be more of a substitute late season fill-in, but with the guys of keeping our core 5, the ones on the schedule, because we don't want to water them down and then they leave us and go elsewhere. So we give them $18 an hour starting, and then each year they get a raise. Now, based off of their
Experience as well.
Yeah, so based off experience, like if they have a WSI, water safety instruction, if they have, if it's their second year, I think it's 60 cents. Do we have the actual,
Yes, right up.
the grid? Well, this is Jason's breakdown. This is not
I can
the,
pull it up.
It says current on it, on the left side.
That's the amounts. He's talking
right,
about that
so there's a
file that we
description,
sent
there's a description that I shared with, I shared with everyone, and I blew it. I had this, I told everybody we were gonna do it, and then I just forgot to go to it and give that file to Jason, but luckily I shared it with everyone. So what Jason's bringing up, hopefully, is the actual grid schedule that goes to the DPW. There it is. So if you look, it goes down by the entry level is 18. These glasses won't help with that. There you go. So yeah, so it's if you have WSI in your first year, you start off at 1860. And as you can see, I'm not gonna read all these, but as it goes on, right now, our senior lifeguard is in her 4th year. She does not have WSI, but, anyway, this is how we break it down, so it's done by merit and by experience. So is there, we had an amount that we wanted
So is the
to raise them.
WSI required?
No, it's just, it's more skills, it's more tools. I was WSI certified in college as well. It's just, you're certified to actually instruct people.
Oh, instructor, that's.
To coach, yeah, safety measures with coaches, swim teams,
Okay,
all varsity swim coaches are WSI.
okay.
And I believe they all can train people to be WSI as well. So that's just like an extra badge on top of your lifeguarding.
So you need a motion to.
So-
I got a
increase the
question on
lifeguard
it.
Payment schedule by 3%.
Good idea.
I'll make that
All right, do we have a motion?
Yes, I make a motion. to
3%, you
increase
have to
the
add it
Lifeguard
into-
payment
Oh, okay.
schedule across the
Cost
board by 3%.
All right, so there's a motion to raise the scale across the board by 3%. And Jason, you have that breakdown, right?
Yeah.
I know he's juggling here.
Just
So
had,
Jason had the original spreadsheet up. There it is.
there it is.
That's the 3%?
This is what the new pay
Yeah,
scale would be
100.
if it was.
Yeah.
3%
So, yeah,
increase.
so starting without WSI would go up to $18.54. So Sparkle has that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously, yes, all right,
Yes.
note that it's unanimous.
Does
And
anybody
so
know how
his
this
motion has
compares?
been approved to raise.
Anybody
3%.
know how this compares to our competitors?
He said
I did-
it's above.
Indeed said the average state average was $18.
Yeah, 2 years ago, we purposely raised it a full $1 so we could just eclipse it, because at the time it was like $17.50, and that was in 2023. So,
It changes a lot, because my kids were lifeguards 10 or 12 years ago and they were making $18 an hour, so I don't know how much it changes, but
Or like us, it has more requirements.
well, we must have been low at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think we were paying like 10 years ago, we were paying maybe $16 or $15.
yeah, but what I'm saying is it's not like it's
Yeah.
gone astronomically high. It's
Yeah.
a pretty steady kind of a gig for the kids to
So we are
that get their
competitive.
lifeguards.
Yeah, and you know, and the.
We're, not only are we competitive, but we're also,
Sought after.
people want the job and we're double covered. So it's like, semi-low stress. It's got some great benefits to it because we're not heavily trafficked. You're not gonna have a bus pull up with 80 people on here. So it's a good gig. Look, I'm too old for it, but you know, if you'll have me in a Speedo, I'd get out there and I'll take the job.
We all wanna see that.
I'll bid $18.
Not half,
So-
not half.
I'll bid $18 for you not to do it.
Thank you.
All right, order. So, anyway, and you know, and also our lifeguards are open water certified, so that's something else. And the county also requires them every single year to go back. So in reality, the rest of the world, they need to get their certification every 2 years. Orange County makes them re-up every single year.
Yeah, every year.
So it's not completely a roll out the red carpet for anybody that has their certification to come to Beaver Dam.
Well, right now.
You already have to be one of the good, like, really good at lifeguards to get the job here.
Right now, we're standing way good as far as lifeguards for this year.
Yeah, we're set, and at the moment, I've been in contact with everyone. I have a little chat, check-in with them every now and then, as we know, the Nemus live down the street. One of them's in my son's swim organization now, they got him involved. And yeah, we're hoping if weather is with us, we'll try to open right after Memorial Day, just on weekend. There's a lot of ifs, with that. You know, last year was no way we could do it because we had early algae problems because we weren't able to put any treatments in and the weather wasn't with us. So we'll see how. A lot of things are dictated by weather, but it seems like we will have the guards. Now, we also have to do all the work out here to get the place up to spec because the county health department has to give us the permit. So it's not just you open the fence and let it go. There's a lot of things that have to be done before.
So we have a great group of lifeguards. They really are great bunch of kids.
Okay, with that, resident forum, is there any other board member that do you want to speak for, is there a board member that is going to say anything tonight? I'll say that like that. Okay, so then you can respond to any resident comment. If there are any resident comments, resident comment section.
No, Jenny. Jenny, let me see.
We're ready for any resident comments.
Please free to, that's what I'm asking.
Maureen.
Thank you so much, Maureen Edison, Short Road. It's not a comment, it's a question. As I was looking at some of the construction going on, I thought to myself, who actually owns the reserves? I know the land is owned by the state, if I'm not.
Orange County.
Orange County.
When the district was created, ownership went to the county.
Of the-
So regardless if it's in Cornwall or New Windsor or Blooming Grove, Orange County owns it.
And so the reserves are owned by Orange County?
Correct.
Okay, and the lake bed is owned by,
And the waters themselves, yes, the local law aid is the water and now, there's these funny things
The
like.
fish are owned by the state.
Right, that, like some of us that have shore property and our former, because the lake had different levels, different iterations. Your lot may actually go out into the lake, and that's because there used to be a lower level of the lake going, I don't need to tell you. I don't need to tell you that, your family's been here for a very long time.
thank you so much. Okay, that's really clarifying.
Yeah.
So then, the second question is in terms of sewage and sewer system.
Mhm.
I recall at last month's meeting, there was a discussion of the new Cornwall Social Club.
Yeah.
Potentially hooking into a sewer system. And I recall that it was stated that the New Windsor sewer system would be the hookup, but that property is located in Cornwall. Did I hear correctly?
Yes, all Beaver Dam Lake. Homes that are on sewer are connected to the New Windsor sewer system. There's the Cornwall system does not reach here. There is certainly a Cornwall system, it doesn't come up this way. So they buy capacity in the New Windsor system, which, as we know from the past few years and some of the meetings, that capacity was getting very close to being maxed out, which is why they were expanding.
Thank
3
you so
million
much for
gallons, yeah.
clarifying.
Yeah, so I had spoken with Tim McCarty regarding this last month. And I followed up with him for an update because there was some bids out on the work to do the initial I, which is like basically, they may want to reline some of the sewage pipes. So that, it will be viable for the upcoming projects. I haven't heard anything back from him. They said it was a 4-week window, and we're right around 4 weeks. And with the Cornwall Social, we had talked with the Cornwall Social. I've tried to be in touch with them on a routine basis, but I didn't receive any replies. I've been told that they're moving along at a slow pace, but they do plan to open at least the cafe area within the next couple of months. So I don't have anything solid that I could say this is grand opening day, but that project is still moving along at a slower pace than they wanted, but I'm thankful to see it's coming to fruition.
Thank you so much, Barry.
Oh, you're welcome.
Hold on.
Anyone else tonight? Ms. Scott?
Okay. I just had a question, this RFP that for the lake management
Yep.
services.
Yep.
I haven't, can you just like send it to me so I can see what
Sure.
is going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing, it's a draft. It's not, there's nothing ready for,
Right, but I'm not sure if the RFP actually comes up through. Does it come through you or does it go to the legislature? Do we approve it
DPW submits it.
on your behalf? So it does come to the legislature? Okay.
Yeah, I would
That's the
assume,
question.
yeah, I would assume, I mean, to be honest, while I'm the chair, we haven't had anything this big go through like this. It's always been, landscaping, reworking a contract, Mary Heiferman pretty much takes care of it. And then I don't know if that goes to the legislature or not, but there's like things, we don't do plowing anymore. With smaller contracts, they pretty much say that they're ready, and Ryan himself handles it himself and tells us that it's ready, so.
Because I know when you're talking about procurement or well, there's.
Yeah.
It's a long process. I visited them earlier actually at the end of the month. And there is quite a bit to go through the whole process.
Can I ask you something about the procurement? Like, have they changed how they do it? Do you know? It seems, because what I understand, they changed staffing, some staff changed, maybe some retired.
they're looking to streamline it and they're actually trying to make sure everything is aligned. I was just, like I said, I had a visit there and they just gave me some, handouts. I'll be more than happy to share that with you. Because it makes you understand like how
Yeah.
it works, how long it works, what's in, and I think, I'll get on to the other topic, but, you're gonna have a realistic view of how long it takes, because I think a lot of people think, okay, I got an RFP, we bid, and we're gonna buy, because like in the local municipality, in Cornwall, there was a process much shorter, in the county, it is, I know.
We ordered a laptop computer last July. We
Okay.
are about to get it.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and there was some mention about reimbursement for, I don't know if I misunderstood you, Sparkle. Talking about maybe as far as getting, reimbursed or you submitted invoices for payment or something for some of the testing you've done or.
No, no.
No,
I think she was speaking non-board in her own private life.
I'm gonna go to C-SLAP. And in order to be reimbursed for the C-SLAP training, I have to become a vendor for the county.
Yes,
So I was asking questions about what I have to do to be,
Never did that.
to do the vendor paper.
okay, so if you need help, I think I know who to send you to.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
yeah, that was on my mind and I was just trying to.
Yeah.
Make sure I didn't forget
Thank
to
you.
ask it.
Anybody looking out for me is especially
Of course,
appreciated.
But no, I thank you for like at least the education knowing that as far as the county owning the reserves,
Mhm.
I'm learning about a lot of departments and so coming to these meetings are very helpful.
Yeah, and some of the folks in the room that have been here longer than all of us, like, the dam is the reason for it, right?
Yeah.
Because like, many of us used to always ask the question, well, why aren't we under Parks and Rec? And that's been discussed.
Yeah,
There's no, and Travis, the current commissioner, was our deputy for DPW, so he has been spoken to and was like, yeah, and I had a meeting and I think, who was there? You may have been at the meeting, we spoke, I can't remember, one of us, we had a DPW meeting, and we said, well, does it make more sense? And I don't know if they didn't want to let go of us, we need the DPW because of the dam,
of course,
but everything else, do we?
the paving.
But then like, yes, there's benefits to having,
Exactly.
being under DPW. Yeah,
The
Yeah,
paving
you're
is
gonna get a-
contracted, so
There's
what's
some-
the difference?
yeah, I had a long discussion with McCarty, and like, he was Tim McCarty, and he immediately called, someone, I can't remember at the time. And so we started having conversations about it being plausible, and it didn't seem like there was a huge benefit to changing at this point. So.
It would
That's-
probably affect the usage of the reserves and the properties, and the building, I think would be affected
Well,
if we
'cause-
were in Parks and Recreation instead of being with DPW.
Yeah, because they have staffing of their own at all these other parks. That was the idea. It was like, wow, I think we could have a big benefit to having Parks and Rec being a part of this. Where the DPW, like I said, they care about what they have to, what they're designed to care about. So, and not speaking negatively about it, but it's just, yeah, sometimes there's certain needs that we have here. It's not gonna be high on the list because it might be in the middle of a flood and they have to go do all this remediation on the roads and emergency, so we sometimes have to wait. We have to wait a lot. We wait a lot. We budget 9 months before. We're about to send the 2027 budget in very soon. So we have to know how much toilet paper literally we need next year, or light bulbs and things like that. So it's just, yeah, that type of thing has been a learning curve for all of us and myself for the past couple of years, so.
We always make sure that we do not overspend. Like, we never go above, like, we don't increase.
So our surplus.
Then we always have a surplus,
Yeah,
because,
so-
well, and being we have a dam and we have a lake, like, we have things, emergency contingencies that we have to budget for. That we cannot go without, like, we have to have a budget for scuba rescue, God forbid.
Right.
Hasn't been used in, I don't know, ever.
We don't use it, and it goes into.
That's
debt.
another $7,000 a line in the budget. Like, there's lots of things like that. We have to keep the dam clear of trees. So our landscaper has that in his contract where he has to go out there 4 times a year and not allowed to he's not allowing to, woody stems to grow. There's all kinds of things like that. So, because the roots destroy the embankment. All right, anyway.
Any other comments? Yeah, Nancy? Thank you.
Glad you're all here.
I would like to add a third comment. I really like the sandwich parts, so.
Okay, thanks.
I
was like, Larry, you're
I
speaking
love
this,
it.
don't speak things into existence.
Okay,
I think we had one person complain.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
all right.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
breathing
so
oxygen.
much.
in. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you.
Thank you,
All
Mark.
right, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting? Is there a
I'll
second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Have a good night, everybody. See you in May.